All right, maybe you're building your voiceover website for the first time. Maybe you're redesigning your voiceover website. How do you build a site that not only looks good and is clean and professional and all that, but that actually grows your business and does what it's supposed to do for you? Specifically, what are the features your VO website absolutely must have? How do you make it easy for customers to do business with you through your website? My voiceover website, paulschmidtvoice.com, has been nominated twice. I'm very lucky at the Sovus Awards, and I had a web development background before I even got into voiceover full time. So I had a big advantage when it came to building out my own website. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 website features that you absolutely must have in order to make a site that performs as good or better than it looks. And at the end, I'll tell you how you can get my top 10 website strategies for voiceover so that you can boost your own website and the effectiveness of your VO website design. Number 1. Demos front and center. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see when voice actors build out their websites. You make me hunt and click and search around for your demos when the primary purpose of your website is to showcase your demos. Don't make me go searching. Your demos are the centerpiece of your entire website when it comes to converting prospects into clients. So your demos should get the prime real estate on the site. That means they should be on the home page, as high up on the home page as possible, so that I don't even have to scroll to find your demos. Now, all the demos on your site should have these features as well. Number 1, they should be clearly named with the demo genre and your name. For example, Paul Schmidt _commercial demo.mp3. They should be playable in all major browsers. They should be downloadable. And this is another mistake I see all too commonly, that prospects can't download the demos on your site. They want to be able to do that and to file them away so that when a project comes up, they think of you first. And finally, all your demos should be in MP3 format because this is the most widely consumable audio format in the world. Number 2. A custom domain and email address. A custom domain is a branded label that's connected to the IP address of your website, the actual technical address. So when you want to visit a website, you don't have to type in 192.72.40.1. You type in paulschmidtvoice.com and you'll get to my website. Nothing says doesn't take their business seriously than a URL like mysite.wixsite.com/mysite. And I can spot an amateur or a hobbyist a mile away when I get an email from somebody that ends in @gmail.com or @outlook.com. When you register your custom domain, also set up your custom email addresses. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Now, I use Google domains to register all my website domains because it's stupid easy to use, but you can use really any registrar you want. Now, why get a custom domain in the first place? Well, Angela Fitzgerald of HubSpot explains why it's so important to have a custom domain. She says custom domain name registration is a good idea for proprietary reasons. It gives you ownership over the domain label of your website so that nobody else can claim it and it's easy for users to find you. But it's also useful for a number of other reasons, like brand identity. A custom domain name is essential for online branding. In other words, your users, your prospects, are going to expect your custom domain to resemble your company name, or at least your personal name. A custom domain name also gives you professional credibility. It gives you memorability. If your custom domain is easy to remember, then people don't have to go searching for it if they want to look you up online. It differentiates you from competitors and maybe even others with clunkier domain names than yours. And finally, and maybe more importantly than all of those, a custom domain name boosts your search authority. In other words, it makes it easier for people to find you in Google and the other search engines. Why? Because the amount of time that a custom domain has been in place is one of the chief factors that Google and the other websites use to establish domain authority. As a rule of thumb, the older a domain name is, the more authority it has. Now, that's not a one-to-one correlation, but what it does mean is that the older your custom domain name has been in place, the more time you've had to establish quality content, to establish internal links, and to collect backlinks, which are also hugely important to your search authority. So for these reasons, it's really important to use a custom domain name as early as possible, ideally from the minute you launch your site. Now, if you start on a free website builder like Weebly or Webnode or WordPress.com, you may be assigned a subdomain, meaning that your initial website address might look something like yoursite.weebly.com. And this is why you want to use your own custom domain so that you're not using that generic subdomain. For your voice actor website, I recommend trying to register a domain name, something like yourname.com or yournamevo.com or yournamevoice.com. Now, if your name is super long or hard to spell or hard to pronounce or is foreign to the country where you do the main amount of your work, then you may want to consider breaking that convention and going with a shorter domain name. And when you set up your custom email, remember that this business is based on relationships. Use your first name as your main email address. In other words, mine is paul@paulschmidtvoice.com. Now, you can set up other email addresses, additional email addresses like info@paulschmidtvoice.com, but your main email that you communicate with clients through, where you're going to send your invoices, where you're going to do all your administrative and client relationship work, that should be your first name. That keeps you transparent and relatable to your customers, and they'll know that they're dealing directly with you. All right, number 3, a APICKUPS policies page. Setting clear expectations with your prospects and clients as early as possible helps you avoid negative surprises down the road. The fact is, despite everybody's best efforts, projects do, on occasion, get sideways from time to time. Sometimes it's client's responsibility, sometimes it's your responsibility. That really doesn't matter. What matters is, did you set proper expectations up front, whether the script was revised, whether you made a mistake, whatever the problem is. If you have a clearly defined policy up front, then when that disagreement happens or when that incident comes up, you have a much clearer path for resolution, a much smoother experience for your clients, and the happier they will be. Here are the main advantages of a APICKUPS policies page on your website. First, clear expectations, clearly defining things like what is even a pickup, what is a revision, and being able to plan for those contingencies sets everybody's expectations up front. Next, professionalism. Having a clearly defined policies page on your website shows that you're a pro, shows that you've been in the end zone before, and shows that you're not running this thing with 3 elves inside a tree. It avoids misunderstandings. So if a client has a revision, was that before or after you've recorded? Was there a mistake in pronunciation? Well, did they provide you the pronunciation up front, or was it something you blew? This helps prevent misunderstandings and disagreements down the road. It streamlines the process, makes it easier and more efficient for both parties. Maybe most importantly, a good policies page protects both you and your clients, keeping either one of you from being taken advantage of. It builds trust with your clients because if you have contingencies and policies up front, then the client knows down the road when something gets sideways that you're not taking advantage of them, that you've pre-decided all of these contingencies and that you have something to refer back to. It reduces the potential for conflict. It increases and makes more efficient the communication. It provides for consistency so that you're treating all of your clients the same and giving them all great service. And it can even help your brand image because the more professional and the smoother experience that your clients have, the better your brand image in the long run. So now you're saying to yourself, okay, now how do I write a policies page? I'm going to make it really easy for you. Go to my policies page at paulschmidtvoice.com/policies. I'll put that link in the description and show notes. And feel free to copy and paste that page from my website to yours. Now, please don't use any other content on my website. I know where you live, and I'm going to throw a flaming bag of wombat poop on your porch and run away. Yep. I've also adapted Nava's AI writer and included the meat of that on my policies page as well, so you may want to lift that and use that as well. Number 4, a booking calendar. Now, when a prospect or a client wants to meet with you, that's a huge buying signal. That almost every time means that they've got a project ready to go and they want to meet with you about it. You probably won't even have to audition. So the easier you can make it to schedule meetings with you, rather than the back and forth through 65 emails, if you can put a booking calendar directly on your site that's connected to your main calendar, the more meetings you'll get and the more you will convert prospects to clients. Now, I use HubSpot's calendar tool because I use their CRM, but their calendar tool is free if you want to use it, by the way, and you can get that at their website. I also use Acuity Scheduling for some of my booking pages because it's integrated with my CRM, Squarespace. It's also a little bit better for recurring meetings than HubSpot's free calendar tool, so I use it for that reason as well. But it really comes down to personal preference. You can use Calendly or Simply Book or whatever calendar tool you use. It's more important that you use one than which one you use. I will say, make sure that it integrates well with your calendar, whether you're on Gmail, whether you're on Outlook, whatever you use, make sure it integrates with your primary calendar easily and well. And lastly, don't just put it on one page and expect it to work. Put it on your home page and make sure that there's a button on every page of your website so that clients can click that button, go to the calendar, and schedule a meeting quickly and easily. Now, the fact is, you're not going to get a ton of meetings booked on your website through your calendar page. But here's the reason. The reason is, again, it's a huge buying signal, so you don't want to miss that opportunity when a client is ready to talk. Number 5, pro photography. Now, the decision to put your face on your website is a personal one. For some, it's going to help humanize you. It's going to help make you relatable and approachable. But for some, it may open you to misogyny, to racism, to other forms of hatred. And that choice, whether or not to put your face on your website, is a deeply personal one. There's no right or wrong, and you need to be grounded in your own choice. You own that choice and nobody else. But that said, if you do choose to put your face on your website and in your marketing, then go the extra mile, be a pro, and get professional photography done. And I don't mean the cheesy corporate headshot with the tie and the paper background, or worse yet, the cheesy shot with you and the microphone with the headphones. Nothing could be more cliche. Nothing could say, you know what, this guy or girl didn't put any thought into her photo shoot, and she just looks like every other voice actor out there. Go to the park, go to the woods, get outside in your city. Is there an arts or historic district? Is there interesting architecture? Is there artsy graffiti? Is there a body of water that you could use nearby? In the end, your website should be a good depiction of you and your likes and your interests and your personality. That's what's going to set you apart from everybody else. So feel free to use settings that you're interested in or that you spend a lot of time in, and that'll help your prospects and clients get to know you just a little bit better. And finally, let your photographer know that you're going to be using these photos in your marketing. So have them frame out a little bit wider than they normally would so that when you use your photos, you can crop and adjust and overlay graphics and text and have a lot more freedom to do so. So now, if you want even more strategies to raise the level of your VO website game, then I highly recommend my Top 10 Website Strategies e-booklet. It's free, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. That'll give you 10 strategies, whether you're working by yourself and using maybe a site builder like Squarespace or WordPress or Weebly, or whether you're working with a design pro. These principles will help you work with that pro to make sure that your website is as effective as it can be. For more information on the VO Freedom Master Plan, the VO Pro Education Community, or to get my Move, Touch, Inspire newsletter for voice actors that comes out every Thursday, I'll put those links in the description or show notes below. Thanks so much for watching. If you found value from this video and it helped you and you think it'll help other voice actors, other creative entrepreneurs, share it, send it to them, post it online, like, subscribe, and we appreciate your support. Thanks also for being part of the conversation, both here on the channel, in the comments, in the VO Pro community, and in the voiceover community at large. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again real soon.